Are you thinking about signing up to Spot and Tango, but you want to know the pros and cons of their dog food before you commit to a subscription plan? Well, in this video, I'm going to share my pros and cons of the Spot and Tango subscription service based upon my experience testing out their fresh dog food. My name is Kieran and I'm one part of Life with Klikai alongside my wife Yasmin and my two dogs Sky and Copper. For this video, I'll be looking at Spot and Tango's fresh meals. If you'd like to check out and find out more about their unkibble, dry food range, or their supplements or treats, you can find links to those in the description below. But in this video, I'll be specifically focusing on their fresh dog food recipes. Now before we get started, I want to point out that Spot and Tango is sponsoring this video. As I know my subscribers would expect, it will always be genuine and honest pros and cons that I'm sharing with you. Also, if you do click any of the links in this video or in the description below, we may make a small commission. If you've already researched Spot and Tango fresh food and you're prepared to commit to a subscription plan with this dog food company, then also head to our description where you can find my latest and best offer from my Life with Klikai community for those who do want to give Spot and Tango a try. Like I said, I'll be sharing my Spot and Tango pros and cons based upon my experience as a dog owner. I'm not a vet, I'm not a veterinary nutritionist, and I am not a dog professional. I am only filming this video and sharing my perspective and feedback based upon my experience as a dog owner. So if you do want to get the input of any experts, I'd recommend that you speak to your vet or veterinary nutritionist before deciding to change your dog's food. So with the housekeeping out of the way, let's take a look at my Spot and Tango pros and cons. So here are my Spot and Tango pros based upon feeding their fresh dog food to my picky Alaskan Klikai, Sky and Copper. If you've been a subscriber to this channel for a while, you'll know that Sky is a really fussy eater and I really care about finding the best food for Sky and also other pet owners who are picky eaters just like my Alaskan Klikai. My first pro of Spot and Tango would be the fresh ingredients. If you're making the switch to a dog food delivery company, you want to be confident that your dog is eating fresh and human grade ingredients. I love that Spot and Tango use simple ingredients. I'm talking about ingredients that owners like me and you might recognize because we might even eat it as part of our own daily diet. For example, I've got the turkey recipe here, and as you can see, it's all ingredients that you or I might eat as part of our daily, weekly or monthly diet, such as carrots, we've got peas, we've got apples. It's all fresh ingredients that you will probably recognize. And as a dog owner, that makes me feel good because I know that Sky and Copper are eating ingredients that I would be willing to put in my own mouth. My second pro with Spot and Tango would be the clear labeling. Now, I've reviewed a lot of dog food companies over the past 7 or 8 years, and I think Spot and Tango's labeling is among the most clearest and concise of all the dog food brands that I've tried. You can clearly see what goes into each of your Spot and Tango recipes because it's clearly labeled on the front. So every time you take a meal pouch out of your freezer to defrost, you'll be reminded of the simple ingredients that have gone into your dog's recipes because there's clear and concise labeling on the front of each of the meal packets. They use a simple design on their meal packaging, but I really like the fact that it's free from distractions and it allows pet owners to feel good at each mealtime that their dog truly is eating a human grade diet that's been customized to meet their needs. I emphasize this point because some fresh dog food companies can use labeling that is very distracting and some don't even list on each of their meal pouches what has gone into that particular recipe. So I just like the fact that Spot and Tango have a really transparent approach to their dog food service. I personally think that the less is more approach definitely builds more trust with pet owners, and I like the fact that Spot and Tango have gone about this way of doing things as part of their pet food business. My third pro would be that there's no additives or nasties in Spot and Tango's recipes. If you're looking to ditch traditional pet food and make the switch to a fresh dog food service, you want to be confident and know that your dog is going to be eating an elevated and healthy diet. While some traditional pet food formats have confusing labels which can make it unclear what exactly is in each of the meals, Spot and Tango, like I said, have clear and concise labeling. What I love is that they don't use any additives, they don't use any nasties, there's no preservatives, it's just all healthy and natural ingredients. So you can feel confident that your dog is truly eating a human grade diet. This is a big pro for me because as someone who has a picky eater, I want to know that Sky is eating dog food that's going to take care of her delicate digestive system. So I have peace of mind knowing that she's eating real ingredients that are gently cooked and customized to her specific needs and don't contain any artificial ingredients that could potentially upset her digestive system. So moving on to my fourth pro, if you've been a long time subscriber to Life with Klikai, you'll know that Sky is a really fussy eater. Copper is less fussy, but he too does have some picky tendencies at times. You're probably wondering at this stage, how did Spot and Tango fare in the taste test? Well, I'm pleased to say that Sky and Copper did really enjoy their Spot and Tango meals. I would say that Sky and Copper particularly enjoyed the beef recipe and the lamb recipe. So if you do have a picky eater or a fussy eater, I would definitely recommend starting with the beef or the lamb recipes. Those were a big hit with my Alaskan Klikai. Overall, Sky and Copper aren't big eaters of turkey, and in the past, they have shown a slight pickiness when it comes to turkey protein in their recipes. So I wasn't necessarily surprised to see them show slightly less enthusiasm for the turkey recipe. So that's why if you do have a picky eater, I would probably recommend going with the beef and lamb if you're starting off a Spot and Tango. That's these two recipes right here. We got beef and we've also got lamb, and they were definitely my Clique's favorite. So my next pro would be that the meal packets are really easy to stack in the freezer. So it's good when it comes to maximizing your freezer space. If you are making the switch from traditional dry food or traditional wet food to fresh dog food meals such as Spot and Tango, it will be a little bit of an adjustment that you now have to accommodate dog food in your freezer and your fridge. If you're already feeding fresh dog food and you're thinking about switching to Spot and Tango, then you may already be accustomed to making that space that you need in your freezer and your fridge. As I mentioned, I've reviewed a lot of fresh dog food companies over the past 8 years, and what I really like about Spot and Tangos, I found that I could put these all in one freezer drawer very comfortably. So you won't find yourself drowning in dog food in your freezer. If you do have shelves, you should be able to stack all your Spot and Tango meals for a month in one freezer shelf. You will also need to keep some Spot and Tango meals defrosted in your fridge, ready to serve. And again, they're an ideal shape. They're this square shape that makes them easy to fit in your fridge door, which is where I usually put them. I usually keep one shelf for my dog's fresh dog food, and then everything else in the fridge is our own food. Typically, I found that one meal packet was enough for one meal for Sky and Copper, so I didn't have half-open meal packets in the fridge, which is great for me because that is one of my bugbears when I do have half-open meal packets, but that wasn't the case with Spot and Tango. Typically, I would feed half of a packet at breakfast and then half of a packet at dinner time, and that was sufficient for Sky and Copper's daily needs. The fact that I didn't have to have half-open dog meal packets in the fridge alongside our own food was a big bonus for me. Another pro is that Spot and Tango have recently launched their supplemental and treat extras. So if you do decide to sign up to Spot and Tango and go for a subscription plan, you can actually get supplements added to your monthly order. So no longer will you have to think about dog food and ordering supplements separately. You can now do it all together and get it shipped to you in one package. I mention this because some dog owners might like the convenience of getting all their dog food and dog supplements from one particular brand. I know that I like the fact that I can get them all in one shipment rather than having to worry about ordering different supplements from different brands and having to track different orders and enter my details into different websites. Spot and Tango have anxiety and calming, hip and joint, and allergy and immune supplements. I really like the fact they have an allergy and immune supplement. I actually haven't seen that with a lot of other brands, so that's something that definitely stands out with Spot and Tango's supplemental range. But if you followed our channel for a while, you'll know that Sky and Copper do suffer with separation anxiety. So the ones that I was eager to try were actually the anxiety and calming supplements. And while we've been trying them for a few weeks now, it's probably too early to say whether it's had a big impact, but I have noticed that Sky and Copper have been slightly calmer. What I do really like about Spot and Tango supplements is that they're chewable. So unlike using pills or powder form, which sometimes you may find if you have a picky eater like me, Sky will pick the pill out of her food and leave it on the ground. Or if she notices that there's powder in her food, even though it's been mixed in, sometimes she won't eat it. But the fact that Spot and Tango use a chewable supplement, it convinced my class in Clique that they were actually getting treats. So I had no problem encouraging them to eat their supplement on a daily basis. So now that I've discussed my pros, let's move on to my cons with Spot and Tango. Like I said, I want this to be an honest video, so I want you to get a real sense of some of the things where I think the company could make slight improvements on, although they did a great job overall. So my first con would be that they only have 3 fresh dog food recipes. As I mentioned, they have beef, they got lamb, and they got turkey. Now that is a pretty good range. If you do have a picky eater like Sky, you do have some variety there, so you are able to change up the protein sources that your dog is getting on a daily basis. Having said that, as someone that does have a fussy Alaskan Clique dog, it would be great to see slightly more variety and to see some more protein options there. And maybe that is something that Spot and Tango will do in the future. Having said that, in fairness to the brand, they do have their own kibble dry food range. So if you are looking for other recipes, you can find 4 on kibble recipes. So as a whole, the brand actually has 7 different recipes. So while they only have 3 fresh food recipes, they do have 4 on kibble recipes. So there is some variety there if you decide that you want to feed some fresh and feed some on kibble. Or if you are looking for more variety, then perhaps you do just want to go with kibble, and you can find a link to my on kibble review in this video or in the description below. So my next con would be that it does require freezer space. So like I already touched upon, while their packets are easy to stack in the freezer, if you are coming from traditional pet food, this could be a big adjustment, and this may be a con for you. You will need to make freezer space and perhaps free up one freezer shelf or one freezer drawer, depending on how much Spot and Tango food you get in your order and how many dogs you have. If you've got a second freezer like us, then that won't be an issue. And even if we used our main freezer in our house, I would still be able to get the Spot and Tango meals into one shelf, so it wouldn't really be a problem. But I just wanted to point this out because if you haven't fed fresh dog food before, this could be an adjustment and something that you may have to consider before you place your first order. And of course, to go back to Unkibble again, if you do decide that you don't want to deal with the hassle of freezer space, then you could just give Unkibble a try. Unkibble is still made by Spot and Tango, it still has the human grade ingredients, it's still going to be customized to meet your dog's needs, and it's also going to be delivered to your door, and you have the convenience of just resealing the bag and popping it back in your shelf. So like I said, there's options. If you do want to give Spot and Tango a try, you could go for the fresh dog food like I'm doing in this video, or you could go for the Unkibble, and therefore you won't have to worry about this potential con. My third con would be that it has a premium price. So Spot and Tango, like any fresh dog food company that delivers their meals to your door, is going to cost more than your regular pet food that you'd buy at the pet store or the supermarket. So that is something to be aware of and to keep in mind. Now, if you're watching this video and you already feed fresh dog food or raw dog food, you probably are already used to paying a little bit extra for your dog's meals. So it won't be such a shock if you do switch over to Spot and Tango because they are competitively priced within the fresh dog food market. However, if you're used to feeding kibble or wet food that you buy at your pet store or supermarket, Spot and Tango is going to cost you slightly more. But you're paying for the natural ingredients, the human grade ingredients, the fact the recipes are all vet approved and vet formulated, the fact that you're going to get the meals customized to your dog's specific needs and then delivered to your door. So these elements are what increase the cost, but hopefully overall you will see benefits to your dog's overall wellness and happiness that will outweigh these costs. And the good news is that you're watching this video, you can save on your first Spot and Tango order. I'll put a link to the best offer that I have in the description below and also a link in this video so you can avail of the best possible offer that I have at this time. So now that I've shared my pros and cons, what is my overall verdict? Having reviewed a lot of fresh dog food companies in the UK and in the US over the past 8 years, I believe Spot and Tango are a really good option if you're ready to give the fresh dog food format a try. I like Spot and Tango's simple but effective approach to pet nutrition. They use real ingredients that you or I would eat, perhaps as part of our own daily diet. They use clear labeling, so it's really easy to see what goes into your dog's fresh food recipes. And you're also getting meals that are customized and tailored to your dog's specific needs, where if they need to lose a bit of weight or gain a bit of weight. While I don't currently feed fresh dog food, they're a great option if you are considering fresh dog food for your dogs. Having tried it with Sky and Copper, I was really impressed because Sky and Copper did enjoy the meals, and like I said, they're really picky and fussy dogs, but they're more than happy to eat Spot and Tango and really enjoyed the lamb and the beef recipes in particular. So if you're ready to start your fresh dog food journey and get balanced and complete meals for your dog, then I think Spot and Tango is potentially a good starting place for you. So like I said, if you are thinking about giving Spot and Tango a try, just head to the description below. You'll get 50% off your first order of Spot and Tango, and you'll find the latest and the best offer that I have for the Life of Kika community. So there we have it. We've reached the end of my Spot and Tango fresh dog food pros and cons video. If you've previously fed Spot and Tango or you're currently feeding Spot and Tango, which I know some of our followers are because they've commented that in my past videos, then please let me know what you think of Spot and Tango in the comment section below, and you can help other dog owners who are watching this video and perhaps trying to find the best dog food for their picky eater and share your experience with them. But that's all for me. I'm going to sign off and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.